Hey everyone, so today on Null Reference what I wanted to do was use Go, which is a language that I've been really kind of enjoying working with, and build a web API with it using a common library available through GitHub which is called Mux. So this library, what it does is it creates a wrapper around the HTTP libraries that come standard with Go and just make it a little bit easier to use. So we're going to go to their GitHub page. We're going to look at the documentation that they provide and see if there are any gaps that I can fill in there. So to give you a little background, a web API is going to be used to send HTTP requests to and get a response back. We're going to be doing that with Postman to test it out once we're running. And this can be used, you can use it to create an entire backend just with one program, or potentially if you wanted to use microservices, what you could do was break everything up into their own little programs and host them all on something like Kubernetes in order to build out a backend. But this is the building block that you'll be using to create that type of functionality. So some of the prerequisites here, I'm going to assume that you've already done all of these things, which is you'll need an IDE and integrated development environment. I'm using VS Code. You'll have to have Git installed, which is source control, and it's used by Go to pull down libraries. You'll need to have Go installed already and configured, which is the language that we're going to be using. Postman is a program that is going to allow us to easily send a web request and get a response back in a way that has like a nice UI with it. Alternatively, you could use curl, which is a command line system. And then we're also going to be using PowerShell because I'm in the Windows environment, but if you were in Linux or you were in Mac, you could use the terminal as well to pretty much do the same thing with just a little bit different syntax. So I'm also going to assume that with Go, you have that installed and you've already created a Hello World application and gotten that working at least once, and you've already gone through Tour of Go, which is online, which is their basic primer into the language. And if you haven't done any of these things, I'll have a link down in the bottom so that you can take a look at them and go to it and get through those. All right, so step one here is we need to go to GitHub and go to github.com/gorilla/mux, and that's going to bring you to the documentation for Gorilla as well as the source code if you wanted to eventually go and take a look at that. The very first thing we're going to need to do is run this installation. So this is going to use go get to grab this library and pull it down into your Go directory. So I have already PowerShell up here, and what we can do is to do that, we are going to copy this, paste it in, enter. This is going to go grab all the files and then put them into your directory. So if I go now to my source directory, which is I've created for my Go path, I've created that inside of my users folder. So under GitHub, I now have Gorilla and Mux. So that was downloaded for me automatically and put into there when I ran this line. So now the next step is going to be looking at trying to build out and start a Mux server. So taking a look at the GitHub page, I already know that the instructions are a little bit sparse. They kind of give you examples on how to do something, but not a straightforward copy and paste and it'll work type of program. So I wanted to go through it and show you how to build one and get it up and working. So the first thing that we can see here is under the examples we have a main, which is going to be our main entry point into the program, and then they've started to create a new router, and then 3 different handlers which are going to be used to create responses and handle the logic of your program. So the problem is that if I go, so right now I have this, I've created just a very basic structure. Under my source folder, I have a folder called Mux API, which is just a project that I'm working with, and then a Go file here, which just contains package main and then the main function. So when you run a Go program, it's going to look for this main function in order to run your program. So in here is where everything will just start running. So if I copy this in and these 3 endpoints in, a couple things are going to happen. If I hit save, it should import everything that I need. So Visual Studio, it comes with an extension, and if you've installed it, it'll go and import everything for you, so it automatically brings in everything that you need. Now we have 2 underlines here saying we don't know what these handlers are. The logic actually hasn't been written by us. So this program as it is right now isn't going to run. In order to get it to run, we would need to write something that is going to give us a response. So we need to write a home handler, and they give us a hint down below. They kind of say the corresponding handler is called by this as parameters, and they give you a hint down here about how to send something back. So we're going to take their example and then just quickly turn it into something that we can use. So I'll copy this. And so I'm just trying to keep it simple. I'm just going to get rid of these extra ones for now. So what I want to do is create a home handler. And I know that this is the signature that we're looking for. So just copy this here. Now I've created a function home handler that's going to be called whenever this endpoint is hit. So instead of doing these things, I'm just going to, again, keep it simple. I just want an HTTP response back. And I'll hit save. And then this will build, but it's not complete yet because the server isn't started. So if I go to PowerShell, so I'm in this directory, I can do, so I need to go into my Mux API directory, find, I have mux.go right there, so I can do go build. That's going to build this, create my little exe file, which is tracked by VS Code, and then I can just run it by doing Mux API exe. So this returns back. Now I get the command line prompt back, meaning it's run through the program and it's done something, but it's not continually running. So if I tried to go to Postman, I wouldn't have anything. If I tried to send a request to it, nothing would happen. So that's because we haven't actually created a server. So I just want to prove to you that we have run something. So I'm going to go to I have a hello world that I created previously. I'm just going to take this one line from here and copy it in, save it, and I'm going to rebuild this just to show you that it did actually go through and it did actually run something, because it's not apparent. So I do get the hello world. So we have run through this line of code. It just isn't running a server. So they don't tell you right in the directions here, the examples, how that works. I'm not exactly sure why they decided to write their examples this way, but nevertheless, all we have to do is run something that they show you down below. I can copy this in actually and get it to run. So this is the HTTP server from Go standard libraries. It's gonna you're gonna pass in R, which is a router that we've created up there, and we'll pass it in as a handler. Set our address to localhost 8000. Just set some good practice timeouts, and then listen and serve. So go here. Now after this piece, and then I'm just gonna delete this for now. Hit save. All right. So again, Visual Studio has automatically brought in everything that I need. There are no errors for us right now, so this should now build. So we're gonna listen and serve. So we've created the HTTP server. We have our handler, which is passed in from here. The handler, it should take, if you just go to the home address, we should just get a response that says HTTP status code 200 OK, because it's going to go here. It'll call this handler. This handler will write this back in the response. Let's go here, do another go build, run. So now, as you can see, it didn't close out. It's still, this means that this is a continual loop. And it's just going to keep running until I exit the program. So I have this request here, and then if I hit send, now we get 200 OK. So now we have something that works. It's not doing anything for us, but we do have something that works, which is nice. So to follow up with the hello world sort of thing that we've been doing, I want to write just hello world back whenever I send a request to that endpoint. So right here we can see that we have this format, printf, we have w, some string, and some variables. So this is a little more, we'll get into this step right after I do this. But what we're going to do is just write hello world here, and then send it to the response writer w. So I'm going to do format printf, copy this guy here. We will paste it in here. And instead of this complicated stuff, we'll just do hello world, typing, okay. Save, and then we must exit this. I always forget what the command is to exit. Oh boy. There we go. Go build. Run. This is running. So now if I hit this again, now we should see hello world. There we go. So we've written something to the response, and we can read it back in Postman, which is great. This is the building block that we use to do any type of logic with an API. So now the next thing I wanted to show you is, let's finish out their example. And you know, a lot of times you can see that in addresses you might have something like user, and then you could type in a user like null reference, which is my account name, and get a response back. So these are called parameters, URL parameters, and Mux allows us like a quick and easy way to do that. So what we want to do, I'm just going to show this example right here because I have it already written out, is we'll have a articles endpoint. So imagine, you know, you're a news site and you wanted to directly link to an article. This is how you do it. So we'll do handle function, and then we're going to pass in the category that we want, and then what we're going to, this is just going to take that all those parameters, that one parameter in this case, put it into the vars, save it as a vars variable, and then we'll grab it based on the name. So this is all going to be handled by Mux itself. So vars, what it's going to do is going to look at the request, find all of the different names in the URI path, and then map those to the value based on a map. All right, so where was I? Copy. Paste. So now we're going to have an articles endpoint. And then we'll copy in the handler function. Save it. And then I'll fumble around. No, I got it first time this time. All right, go build. Run. So this is running. So we can test that my hello world is still working. Now we're going to do articles. Now category we want, we'll do finance. And then when I click send, it should write something back here that says finance. So there we go, category finance. Just anything that you want to write is going to be turned into a variable and then written back to you. So the one caveat here that I found out after hours of problem solving is that this is very specific as to the matching. If I took this character away, I would get an error. So if I delete that and hit send, so it's going to say page not found. Mux is very picky. It doesn't do any matching unless you tell it to do matching. So the easy way, without going into, I haven't checked to see if you can use regex or something like that. Just an easy way is to register another route to avoid that problem. So go here, delete, save, quit out. I think my keyboard is going. Build, run. Now we're running, so now anything should come back correctly. And then the other one will work as well. So what we're able to do is just put up a basic API, quickly go over the documentation as they provided it on their GitHub page, and build a little working example of a good starting point using Go to make a web API using Mux. So thank you guys for tuning in, and catch me next time.